Welcome back to Journal with Witch, episode 2. So, seems a somewhat more mature kind of show. I saw one of the texts is drama. It feels a little bit slice of life, all about loss and finding a new home, I guess. We will see. I don't know why witch. Maybe it just is a metaphor for Makio. Maybe not. Who knows?
さ、掃除してもいい？
無理しなくても。
いや、無理っていうか。
I mean, it doesn't look very inviting as it is. And we saw how you handled stuff. You were like picking up some stuff from the table and just dropping it on the floor, which I feel like is insane. So, keeping it a little bit more clean, at least in the living room, would probably be good.
掃除好きだし、やりたいっていうか。
ならどうぞ。
Nope. No copyright. Hmm.
小説？
Is that the older sister?
本当に書いてるんだ。小説。
だったら
It is.
小説なんて。あんたもう少し。
Maybe not? I don't know. But it's the only other female person we have seen of any relevance is the older sister. Yes. I believe she was older. Hmm.
歌がうまい。に
I mean, no one says you need to write in your journal. You can do drawings. It does mirror pretty well what she is going through. Like, this is supposed to be like the desert. Seemingly with a tent. It's hard. Like pyramids. I'm assuming this is just to make sure it's a desert. Pyramids. Palm trees? A cactus. A polar bear? I mean, that is a little bit weird. Or maybe that is supposed to be a sphinx. Potentially. And the tent is probably like a dune.
木なのか。
But the journey is mostly to just put stuff down. It supposedly helps you not have this stuff in your head the whole time. Write it down. It's leaving you a little bit. So why not? Emery, how are things going? Like, she is still a school student. Now, you don't need to turn away. You can just be like, okay. I mean, you don't need to read it. Also 17, so it's 5 p.m. So I'm assuming she got time off school because, I mean, her parents are dead. That is a pretty good reason to be away from school for at least a bit.
はい。
それ開いてるとつい読んでしまって申し訳ないので、もう少しこそこそと。
別にいいけど読んでも。
いや日記なんだから、そこはもっとこう夕飯にしよ
あ、はい。
Now, this is a pretty good showcase that, everyone has their different boundaries. And it seems like that I forgot the schoolgirl's name. I'm bad with names anyway. But she doesn't really mind, at least not that Makio reads it. She also has not put anything down that she needs to hide. It's more or less just she put her headspace down on paper. So far, okay. I find it interesting to have this difference. May also be that maybe she grew up not hiding anything or not being allowed to hide anything, no privacy. Could also be one of those cases. This, by the way, looks like Nabe hotpot thingy.
昨日も鍋だったような。
う。うち基本的に鍋どんどん生姜焼き。
Okay, nabe, rice bowl, ginger pork. So everything double. 7 days a week. I mean, I'm also just eating like 3 or 4 meals the whole time. I'm not really switching it up. So I can understand where she's coming from. Not the healthiest lifestyle.
生姜焼き刺身で回してんだけど。
もうすって
1週間。
え？
昼はうどん。
何曜日が？
毎日。最近どう？
同級生から。
Is this supposed to be clear? I assume the broth would be a different color, would infuse the taste. Or maybe it is just a very light colored broth. I normally see a lot of darker colors. It could also be just animation style that in other shows they make it a little bit darker because then the liquid is easier to see.
最近どう？
同級生からなんて返したらいいかなって。
そういえば私もそんな LINE 来てたな。
なんて返したの？
あ、いやまだ。そろそろ返すか。
It also seems a little bit like that the Skuga is trying to learn from Makio. Whenever she's stuck and she doesn't know what to do, she's trying to get advice from Makio, but she seems similar to her. Also socially not as developed, most likely because very secular lifestyle, very drawn back from society. Akshan, you haven't responded in like a week. You alive? How goes? Who? Daigo? Potentially a man?
すっげー。
I guess not. Couldn't really read the name that well.
マジ突然の子持ちだ。
すっげーっしょ。入って寒いから。
ふいっす。朝ちゃんだよね。
Asashan. Okay.
マキオから聞いた。第五7です。
It is Daigo. First thing that came into my mind was Yakuza.
いくつ
15。
15。ウケる。あ、ねえねえ、あれ出してよ、煮出し紅茶。
受けた。
シナモンが死んでなきゃいける。
マジいやー、出してよ、煮出し紅茶。
受けた。
シナモンが死んでなきゃいける。
マジいやー、なんか片付いてるし、座れる。ほら。
あなたオフショルってどうなのよ。
っていうかシナモンって死ぬの？なんならもうミイラ
Cinnamon. Can cinnamon die? Is cinnamon not like tree bark? Or something similar to that? And yeah, conversations can be a little bit all over the place, especially at the beginning.
成り立ってるの
え
かな。
この会話成り立ってる？
聞こえてはいる。でシナモンって死ぬの？
分かってるんだ。
死ぬの？
分かってるんだ。
うん
大人が友達してるとこってあんま見たことないなーって。
Yeah, that is a little bit weird.
お母さんは？
ダメな大人を見るのが初めてってことじゃん。
ああ、それ
普通の大人そんな笑わねえから。
笑わねえから。
かける。お腹減った。ご飯作ろう、ご飯。
これは？
デザート。てか君、ちゃんと自炊してんの？作ってる？この人。
Yeah, I mean, at least they know each other pretty well. She knows Makio's not cooking. You know, she is most likely not going to take good care. She's now going to be pretty surprised that Asa is the one mostly doing all the housework. Okay, weekends hot pot. Monday and Tuesday oyakodon. Dinner pork sashimi. Oh, rice bowl. Oyakodon, rice bowl. Okay, I see.
鍋どんどん焼き刺身。ちゃんとしてんじゃん。
Same applies for summer. Oh.
十分じゃない？
2人分作るのがまだちょっと。
ああ、そこは慣れだ慣れ。君のお姉さん専業主婦？
知らない。
知らない。ウケる。ははん。なるほどですね。
これが大人の会話。
わかりました。今日は君たちのために晩ご飯を作ってあげるつもりだったんだけど、作ってやんない。
いや、大人というか、もはや。
It's an interesting way to have the laugh displayed. It is very uncommon in anime for such a more unique laugh. Oh. It's her headspace. So she now is in the city in front of a zoo, I guess.
違う国の言語。
ね、一緒に作ろう。っていうか、メインは君たち二人でやってね。大丈夫。
第5。すでに掃除までさせてしまっているのに。
はい、やりたい。はい。掃除までさせてしまっているのに。
食事まで作らせるわけには。
包みたい。私、餃子包みたい。
と言っ
Gyoza, okay.
ておりますが。
別に絶対ダメと言っているわけでは。
I mean, you are doing it right now. You are so against her cooking because you are like, oh, she wants to cook. Let her cook. Show her how to cook. Maybe she likes it. Maybe she wants to cook. You never know.
でもマキオちゃんが迷惑なら別に。
気まず。マキオくん、私は君がまた自分はこんなこともできないとか言って
第5。
泣くところを絶対に見たくないのね。
大人っぽくない。私には見せたことのないマキオちゃん。
いい機会だと思いますよ。では我々ただいまよりパオ団を結成いたします。
パオ団？
包む集団、その名もパオ団。 餃子って中に何入れてもいいから優秀よね。具のリクエストある？
みょうが。
今何月だと思ってんだよ。
包む女たち。
ん？これ
Very confused about the title. And now I'm going back to that, and it probably doesn't mean anything. Still. So I'm assuming, what is this? Garlic?
で1分でいいや。
Cabbage?
はい。巻きをナスのヘタ取ってキャベツのみじん切り。
はい。
Not the cabbage.
そういえば大悟んとこの犬キャベツの芯好きだったよね。
もうそうボリボリいい音立てて食べんだよね。
Aw, past tense. My dog, I don't know how my mom did it, but where I am, you know, whenever you buy bread can get hard after like a week. And she would just take these, you know, hard pieces of bread and she would feed it to our dog. Our dog loved, you know, these little treats, pretty cheap. And not, I don't know if it's healthy per se, but I feel like it's not as bad as other treats. So, you know.
食べないよコーギー。
ヤシバ鼻真っ黒の。
黒くないし花。縦にそうそう。あ、マキオ次ナスレンチン。できんじゃんみじん切り。
調理実習の時やりたかったのに男子に取られて。
何そいつ朝ちゃんのこと好きだったんじゃない？
いや、あいつネギが好きだった。
急にマキオみたいなこと言わないで。
は？
じゃあネギをボウルに。
Yeah, again, they do feel somewhat similar.
移してさーて混ぜるぞ。
Okay, meat.
そんな変なこと言わないけど。
言ってたの。俺はネギが好きだって。
調味料は適当ね。ぐるぐるぐるぐる一方向に。
Now, this is also part that I find interesting in whenever Japanese cooks, they like to use gloves or like, you know, some kind of plastic covering, which where I grew up, we never had that. It was always bare hands, naturally washed beforehand, but still.
で、なんでこんなに餃子に詳しいんですか？
昔中華屋の店員さんに教えてもらったの。片思いしてた。あ、止まってる。あ、
何それ初耳。
黒歴史ですから。餃子を作るたびに思い出す彼の許さん。
じゃあやめとけよ餃子。
ぐるぐるぐるぐるぐるぐるぐるぐる。
I feel like not forever. This feels more like a paste already. Add ground sesame and noodle soup broth.
私は何を食べていたんだろう。毎日作ってくれてたのに。毎日美味しいと思っていたはずなのに。
美味しい？朝。
思い出せない。
Yeah, again, you know, not only losing your parents, losing your home, you lose a lot of your past. I'm assuming this is mostly a consequence of the, you know, everything is being shocked in her. New environment, new person, new way to live, new food. So he probably still needs a little bit time.
うちの餃子何が入ってたっけ？
では包みたまえパオダンよ。はい。その間に私は秘伝のタレを作って信ぜよう。
秘伝。
門外不出だぞ。後で教えてあげる。 LINE 教えて。
ゆるゆる秘伝だ。
教えてあげる。 LINE 教えて。
That made her pretty happy to exchange a line. Is that something you get really happy about?
ゆるゆる秘伝だ。
ついでにそなたにも教えて信ぜるから、あさちゃん LINE 転送してあげて。あ、はい。
お、
いや、交換しろ。 LINE の交換。
ずっと家にいたから使う必要が。
さあ、包むのだパオダン。はい。
They don't show the wrapping, really?
ニンニク生姜オイスター、梅干しマスタード、しそ味噌玉ねぎ酢、そして王道の酢醤油ラー油と山盛り針生姜ね。うまそう。
インスタよ。
インスタ用。よし、オッケー。いっただき。
I do like that the background music is also like a desert theme.
シバ。
I do wonder how you eat with the sauce. Do you take a bit of sauce for your plate and then dip it in, or do you dip it in the sauce itself?
どうねえ。その友達はあさちゃんのご両親のことは知ってるの？知ってる。そっか。じゃあ、優しいね。
マフよ。ん？
I did not even see that we are now again in her perceived reality.
優しいね。
Which is interesting. She never changes. I would assume she would change herself as well to fit in better.
すごく言葉を選んでくれた感じがするから。元気？大丈夫？その後どうなった？それも正確に答えることはできないし、いかにも心配そうに聞くのも、何でもナイフを装うのも難しい。でもその子は最近どうって言葉に頑張ってそういう気遣いを全部詰め込んでくれた感じがする。だから優しい。自分で言ってよ。
いやー、君のそういうとこ好きだわ。
ひえ、どうもです。
A question like this also allows you to answer whatever. So instead of being specific, you leave the topic open. So they can talk about, what happened since the incident, or they can talk about what they do right now, or what changed. They have a pretty open theme they can answer with, which is, pretty not liberating, but it is not as suffocating as being asked about a topic you don't want to talk about.
手作りなんですかこれ？こんな地味なケーキ店で売れないし。で、手作りなんですかこれ？
You made this yourself. I couldn't sell a plain cake like this at the store. You have a cake store?
こんな地味なケーキ店で売れないし。で、結局なんて返事するの
？I mean, that is why the question is so open. So you can answer what you want.
大丈夫だよとか。いいじゃん、いいじゃん。
うまっ。今日はあんがとう。
いいえ。ねえ、風町くんに連絡してみたら？
That is a guy though, right?
お金のこととか。
Money and stuff. Instantly makes me believe it's her editor or manager She seems to be a novelist.
だってあの食欲絶対跳ね上がるぞ。エンゲル係数。
笠町くんか。
君人生変わるね。エポックだ。尊敬するよ。
I do wonder if she seemingly has like a shop where where she makes cake. I do wonder how her life is going. I mean, they are friends. Does she have a family who's has a machi? Because it did not seem like an editor. Seems like someone that Makio has not met for a while.
終わったよ。
ありがとう。じゃあ私仕事。
あ、はい。
寝たくなったら言って。じゃあ。
あのさ。
ん？
事故の後、マキオちゃんが言ってくれたでしょ。悲しくなった時に悲しめばいいって。
ああ。うん。
あれね。ありがとう。
え？
悲しくないのは私が変なのかと思ってた。でもあの言葉ですごくほっとした。マキオちゃんのおかげで。
あなたの感じ方はあなただけのものだから。あなたがどう思うとそれを責める権利はない。誰にも。
うん。だから悲しくなったら言うね。今は大丈夫。無理してない。
わかった。私もダメな時は言う。お互い協力してやっていこう。あ、でも私は落ち込みやすいクズなので圧は弱めでお願いします。
圧？ああ、圧か。お母さんがよく言うやつだ。こんな当たり前のこともできないのみたいなやつ。わかった。かけない圧みたいなやつさんがよく言うやつだ。
I mean, I can understand that she talks that way to Makio, sure. He did not tell Asa, right? Did she talk the same way to Asa as well?
こんな当たり前のこともできないのみたいなやつ。わかった。かけない圧。
Maybe she just picked it up somewhere, because if her mother was talking like that to her, that is a very unhealthy way to talk to someone. Even talking like that to your sister, not very helpful.
ちょっと出かけてくる。
She's all dressed up.
夕飯は何か買って。え？
綺麗。いつもと全然違う。
どうも。
So who's this? Do you have his skirt on?
どうも。
Did not picture you in a skirt, to be honest. Can't read that even if I want to.
先生。
And
笠町くんさ。
相変わらず嫌そうな顔すんな。久しぶり。
ごめん、突然。
いや、君に呼ばれりゃどこでも現れますよ、俺は。
it feels like he is interested in her, but she is not interested in anything. So why did you call him for money and stuff? Are you going to borrow money?
コーヒーお願いします。
はい。
なあ、ルビーって死んだの最後。 実は死んでませんでした的な含みがあっただろ？
ちゃんと読んでるね、本当に。
だって面白かったから。
ルビーのことは次が出れば書く。
出ればか。
あんまり売れてないんだ、これ。かわいそうだけど。せっかくそこにいるのに書かれないキャラクターがね。だって気持ち悪いね、この言い方。
気持ち悪かないだろう。キャラクターは君の子供なんだ。
すいません、ホットサンドください。
はーい。
Yeah. He tries to connect with her somewhat, but she does not really seem receptive. Also, we now have an idea, so she made a novel, didn't sell that well, and she's writing another one. There could potentially be a lot more that she wrote that were more successful, maybe less. But we now have a good idea, okay. Novel, sure. Also, Journal with Witch, I assumed would be because of the journal of Asa. But I feel like what is going to happen is that Makio is going to write a book about Asa. And that is what she's going to call Journal with Witch.
聞けよ話。子供か。って言っても中学生
15歳。
あのさ、誤解のないように額面通りに聞いてく
His age seems to be important.
れよ。まず、俺は君
Oh, an ex. Oh.
とよりを戻したいとは思っていない。でも、子供を引き取ったと聞いて、正直ムカッとした。俺といた時は、子供なんて一生いらないと豪語してた君がだ。どういうつもりだって。
This may show they were in a relationship, which means she at some point was interested or was receptive enough. I feel like they slowly drifted apart because she seems very focused on writing a novel. So I can see that being a big problem. And it also could be that one of the big problems, similar to like Expedition 33, where you have two adults who both maybe like each other, but they have different opinions on the future. In this case, having children. She seemingly doesn't want to have children, and he may have wanted to get a child. Which naturally, you can like each other as much as you want if you are not, having the same goals in the future, then it is probably better to leave the relationship. As much as it sucks, this is one of those topics that is probably not going to change. I don't believe she's going to ever change and wants to have children. As example. I don't know what his stance is.
だから、まあ自分で思ってたより傷ついてたんだなって。そんだけの話。以上。
I mean, he was just annoyed. He knows it's not her child. She took it in, but still, the brain is an awful thing. So there's probably like a tiny bit of his brain who's like, oh, she got a child with someone else instead of me. Even though I was, I was ready to sacrifice everything for her. Which naturally is not true. But you still have this little nibble at the back of your brain that is saying exactly that.
で
で
金の話だろ？
ああ、
Now, this is the part I don't understand. So, you were together at some point. You're not together anymore. And you go to him for money? In what way? Is there something else going on between you two? or is this really just borrowing money?
はい。少なくとも就職するまで何が必要で何をしてあげればいいのか全然。
引っ越しはあのマンション2人じゃ手狭だろ
あれは買ったものだからすぐに出ていくつもりは。
う。
Good choice.
買ったあのマンション
うん。
いつ
6年前。
めちゃくちゃ付き合ってた頃だな。
あん時やってたシリーズがポンと売れたから。
Okay, so another series that did take off, potentially before she wrote this book. Okay.
知らなかった。
But do you need
一
money?
言も言わないんだな。そういうこと。
自分の本がこんなに売れるのもこれ。
Reminded me of another show last season, the mangaka one, where the editor was unable to really share, or she was not, she failed to share important information, similar to this one.
っきりだと思ったから誰かに言うと夢から覚める気がして。
君らしいよ。君が君で俺は嬉しい。未成年後見人の申し立ては
何それ。
生命保険をその子に受け取らせるために必要だ。
Did her parents have life insurance? And why does what I'm assuming is that she needs to fill out guardianship, so she is seen as the legal guardian of the child. Then the child can receive the life insurance. However, because she is a minor, that money is going to be held by the guardian until she supposedly, this is supposed to be held by the guardian until she is an adult. Then the money would be transferred. There are cases where the money is then being spent for frivolous things by the guardian. There were shows, animes, that had a similar plot. Okay. Now what I want to know, what was the relationship like? Why did they split? You know, I would like to see some of that background a little bit. I'm assuming the children topic was an issue. And, you know, he seemed to be eager to have a child. That is why he's a little bit irked that she now has a child, even though it's not hers. And she didn't want to, but normally there are a couple more things that happen. I would like to know more. And again, this whole she's going to him for money stuff, is it just to get some help? Is she going to get money, or was the idea she gets money from him, or was the idea, hey, I need more money, do you have an idea how I can make some more for the child?
証書はないの？
わからない。まだ家の整理に行ってないから。
なら一度戻って探した方がいい。あとはそうだな。
あの子すごく寝るんだよね。昼間少し動いて、あとは寝てるの。ずっと。本人に自覚はないみたい。そうやって傷んだ自分を少しずつ一人で消化しようとしているのかもしれない。
A lot of sleeping, huh? No clue. As she said, maybe it's to internalize. Maybe she does have something going on. The only things I know are stuff like sleep apnea, maybe something like that, but you probably would know
そこを無理やり叩き起こして区切りをつけさせるようなことをしていいんだろうか。
No.
それが怖い。
改めて驚くよ。
That she's caring about someone else?
君は誰に対しても基本怖いってスタンスだろ。俺に連絡するのも内心ビビってたはずだ。
うるさいな。
それがまさかな。
だっていや怖いよ。怖いでしょ。ましてや15歳なんて。そんな柔らかい年頃、私のうかつな一言で人生を変えてしまうかもしれない。怖いよ。
True.
君は嫌がるかもわからんけどさ、俺の人生も君の一言で変わったんだぞ。
なんて言ったの私。
秘密言っても思い出せないだろ。
そうやって。いやそりゃま
I'm assuming he has another wife?
あ
泣きよ。また連絡するよ。俺も会いたい、その子に。
うん。
ルビーが死ぬ前に家のことを考えるシーンがあったろ。
最後の方？
そう。あそこ好きでさ、何度も読んだ。
ルビーは旅の始まりを思い出した。あの時逃げるように駆け出したその最初の一歩も、今踏み出すこの一歩も同じ。家へ帰るための一歩だった。どこを歩いていても足跡はいつだって家へ向かっていたのだ。帰るんだ。私は家に帰る。
そう思って一歩踏み出したルビーの足は支えを失い空をかき、それすらできなくなって倒れ。
This is Asa reading.
頬に砂粒をつけて赤子のように地面を這った。
嫌だ。そう叫んだはずだった。だけど声は喉に絡み、目の前の砂粒さえ動かすことはなかった。
届かない。私の声はこんなだったろうか。あなたにはどんな風に聞こえていたんだろう。聞きたい時にあなたはいない。家といっても屋根があるだけの。
何を読んでいる？
本。おかえり。
ただいま。
何その顔。
I would feel the same way. It's like if someone else reads it, fine. Someone who I don't know. But if someone reads it that I know, then that is just
後で
weird.
読もう。
朝。ん？来週あなたの家の整理に行こう。
Pretty good timing, but yeah, this is going to be... At the moment, Asa is somewhat removed from her past life. But going there, this is going to bring up everything, her past life, that now the parents are gone. It's not gonna be easy by any means. I feel like this is going to be quite a difficult situation. But Maku at least has to go there, needs to find the policy, maybe some clothes, because Asa has nothing at the moment, right? So we would need some extra stuff for her. Still, I would like to know what really how did the relationship end between Makio and boy, man, whose name I definitely remember, but sure. How did their relationship end? I feel like he moved on. Maybe not as important. But overall, I don't really know where we go. We go to the old home. We probably have a lot of, working to do there, especially emotionally. We have to work up a lot of stuff. After that, we go home again. Probably meet some of the school friends. We will see. I'm gonna watch episode 3 right after anyway.